Oh, I had to be previous. No.
No, staying to be back here in the morning. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Think about that when we put those back to back. It does. Yeah. And then IASB Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm just staying here all week. Yep. Make it all the way down.
All right, 6 o'clock. I'm gonna give the whole meeting over. Roll call, please.
Josh,
Here.
Tyler,
Here.
Dex Jackson, Melissa, here. Andrew.
Here. We look at the agenda. Do I have approve the agenda?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda passes. Public forum. Do we have anyone for public forum here tonight?
I do not have any items.
All right. Moving on. Announcements and celebrations. We've got a lot.
So many celebrations. So first one I want to start out with is hopefully everyone is aware, but it's important to mention it and to bring it up, which is the Iowa School Performance Profiles came out. And it's sort of the idea of the Gilbert Community School District report card that comes from the state. We're very excited. We sent it out to all parents and shared it on social media as well. That our own Gilbert High School was the only high school in the state to receive the rating of exceptional. So congratulations to Gilbert High School and to their administration, to Cindy Bassett, to John Ronka, to the teachers, and to the students in our community. And when you look at the composite score of all high schools across the state of Iowa, Gilbert is #1 of all of them. So that is very exciting. And one of the things that I was going out and talking in bond meetings the last few weeks, I was hearing that from our community about how excited they were. So we're thrilled about that. In addition to that, our middle school also received a rating of exceptional. And in their composite score, they ranked as the #2 middle school in the state of Iowa. So congratulations to those teachers and staff members at the middle school, their administration, Mike Danielson, and all the work that they have done over there. And it was only one of 4 middle schools in the state to receive that exceptional rating. So we're very excited and proud of them as well. In addition, as another side celebration, this past week, or maybe a week and a half ago, Mr. Danielson and a team went to Washington DC to receive their official award for AMLE as a School of Distinction. And so we're very proud of them and excited that they were able to go and receive that honor at a dinner where they were honored, and that was exciting as well. In addition to those wonderful announcements, we also received, well, what I want to mention is with the exceptional rating, Gilbert School District was only one of 3 districts to have multiple schools in their rating of exceptional. So that is outstanding. And our elementary and intermediate buildings received the rating of commendable. And there were a number of highlights there as well. When it comes to math and language arts proficiency, our younger students scored over 20% higher than the state average. So we're also proud of the work that's going on with Stacey Edwards and Amy Griffin and all of their teachers and staff and students and the work that they're doing there. So all good news as it relates to our performance. Okay, and with that, the other, we have lots of other wonderful announcements. I'm sure if you're not part of our social media world, I would recommend you all join us on all the places we do that, Instagram, Facebook, and podcasts, and all the websites, and all the things, because we talk about all the different sports and activities that our kids are involved in. I'm going to talk about a few, and then I'm going to turn it over to Ian. We have some distinguished guests here that we want to honor. So we have had some amazing results with our competition cheer team, with our swimmers, with our esports kids, and we even had kids on a part of our DECA program just yesterday compete. And so all of our kids that are competing in those things did very, very well. If they did not come in first, they came in second or third or very close. And so just really have done incredible things. With that, that leads us to the wonderful season of our cross-country girls, which have done an amazing job. And we're honoring tonight our cross-country boys team. And Ian Smith, our athletic director, is here. He's going to talk, our activities director, excuse me, he's going to talk for just a minute. I want to congratulate our cross-country boys for winning state. We're so proud of all of you. I want to congratulate Aaron Thomas for his coaching and the wonderful things that he's been doing and the awards he's received around that. And also the assistant coach, Trace, is here with us as well. And we want to congratulate you on your award as well. So many wonderful things. And so with that, I will turn it over to Ian.
Okay, guys, come on up. Let's not be shy.
Come on.
Preston has now won a state title in the last one of the soccer teams. Why don't you guys come over here? Okay, what we're gonna do, you guys go ahead and introduce, let's say your name and your grade. And coaches, you can do that too, even though you're not in school anymore.
I'm Preston and I'm in 10th grade.
I'm Carlson, I'm in 10th grade.
I'm Jacob.
Aaron Thomas. Troy Stout, I graduated, but I act like I was third.
Kind of a neat deal. Carson's grandpa was a longtime athletic director here. So Carson's, yep, and kind of following his footsteps. We're lucky. These guys, if you weren't, like Dr. T said, weren't on following social media. They won the state title, and it was neck and neck with the defending state title champs, Pella. And it was seriously billed as the top race going in. There's a bunch of races, and it delivered. Our boys won with a score of 57, and Pella was next with 65. And to say how close that was absolutely incredible. And it took all these guys 1 through 7 to make it happen. And Troy was at the finish line, and we're kind of sitting there. We're like, okay, he was talking to the guy from Cedar Rapids Gazette. We're kind of paying attention. Who's coming across? All of a sudden, we're like, I think we got it. We're like, we got it. And so everyone just exploded, erupted, like we're state champs, and these guys just bringing their hearts out. And I just want to make sure that they get recognized tonight for all the amazing season that they had. And Coach Thomas, I know he's the most humble guy I ever meet. This is his 4th state title. And the neat thing about that, besides, obviously another state title in his book, is that Troy ran the numbers. The excellent Troy. Troy does a great job telling a story. And he went back and looked, and he said, in the last 20 years since we moved to 4 class in cross country, where does this team rank? Well, Troy figured out that this is the best team that we've ever had. The best team at Gilbert. So we've won 4 state titles with the best team at Gilbert. Not only that, it quite possibly, if you go look at his story, it's really neat. It quite possibly is the best cross country team in class 3A in the last 20 years. That's how good these guys were, and it took them running their absolute best to knock off Pella. And I just want to congratulate them. And Coach Thomas was named the Class 3A Coach of the Year. Coach Stout was named Class 3A Assistant Coach of the Year. So they went very well, deserved those honors. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our girls cross country team. They finished in 3rd place at the state meet, had an absolutely phenomenal day. And Coach Laura Countman was named the Class 3A Coach of the Year too. And so our cross country program, you guys see them running all the way. And I talked about, we see, the races and how well they do there, but it starts in the summer with all the miles that they put in and the hard work. And we just want to recognize them for all their hard work and congratulate them on another state title. So congratulations. Board have any questions for our amazing state champions? Coach, come on, coach.
I guess I'm gonna talk. No, I think a lot of what Ian said, just an incredible season with these guys. I mentioned it when I had a recognition, the Monday afterwards, that, Zane and Preston, Zane had basketball because I couldn't make it. We're part of the state championship soccer team, so I sent a text shortly after they had won, said, hey, congratulations. And their first response wasn't thanks, it was let's do it again in the fall. And so they kind of had that from the beginning, and just such a fun group. And they worked hard and just accomplished a lot of amazing things as the season went on. And our goal when we went up to the state meet was just, we knew Pella was going to be good, and just to run as best as we could, and whatever happened. And so they did that, and fortunately we came out on top. And a young group, and so should be fun these next few years as well with what we're going to be able to do.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much for coming. I know, right now, yeah. It's a good problem to have, so thank you. Yeah. Well, and that, also, I think I skipped over it, but I wanted to mention, we had play Friday and Saturday night, it's Frequent Friday. The kids did a wonderful job, and our, Fine Arts Department as well, Tanner, Sussman, Zach, Hackline, and Chris Johnson are all part of it, and there's just so many pieces to it that are incredible. Our kids just do a great job. It's wonderful, and there's a spirit of it. So lots of wonderful celebrations, and then of course I just have to mention it because every class are following. So we're very excited. So grateful to our community, and very, very excited about the future. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. But it's just thrilling, and it was a really fun election night to see where that all fell. And there were a lot of, and now that the other work begins, so there's that. I'm just going to practice about that a little bit. So yeah, so lots of good things, and so we're excited, and new board members, and so all kinds of great things around me. So congratulations. We're going to talk about that later too, but I can't tell to Melissa, to Andrew, to Mindy, and of course to Nathan. And this is Tyler's last official long full meeting, and but we will celebrate his hard work and dedication on the board on just next meeting. So that concludes just a few of the celebrations. So
Thank you very much, Christine. I just, Christine sent us an update, usually once every other week, kind of things that are going on. And her update last week was about 3 pages long, and everything was up across the entire email. It was just a lot of really cool things going on in school. And it was just really neat to read. So it was, it's a great job.
I'm just responding when those just saying.
Awesome. That's no problems. That was good. It's all about you. Let's move along. Admin reports. Winter sports participation report.
yes, so yeah.
Nope, I'm still here.
So last meeting, there was a question about our winter sports participation. And so Ian is here to just talk a little bit about that information, and then share.
Awesome.
So,
Okay, I'm back. Okay, so yeah, we, fabulous Debbie Gray broke down the numbers of different activities that we offer in the participation. And there's a few of the activities where a lot of them are hanging steady, but then there's the other few that have shot up dramatically. And so if you guys look in your reports there, for instance, football, 3 years ago, we had 134 kids out for football. And Graham, our coach, obviously, he's kind of a data guy, so he knows exactly who's coming out next year. We're expecting 185 football players. So that's incredible, 7 through 12. And obviously, we know the success they had this season, and that's another celebration. And volleyball, the numbers are exploding. Others, there's just a great participation across the board at Gilbert, which is awesome. And another thing to keep in mind too, which I appreciate the board and Dr. T and Cindy and all of them, Mike, for their support, is all the activities we've added. So in the last 2 years, we've added competition cheer, dance, bowling, boys and girls, let's see, esports, and then this last year we had a tennis club. So those are just other activities that we've added that gives the kids a chance to participate, and it's really neat. If you guys haven't seen the esports team compete, or the dance team now is an official team, and competition cheer had their competition. It's really neat to see those kids have that opportunity to compete. And as I wrote to Dr. T and Gail, it does take a lot of time and resources for those activities. And I'm so appreciative to give our students those opportunities, and it's amazing to watch them out there. And participation numbers, I think it's in there, but this last year we had over 1,300 kids in the different activities. And of course, those are multiple students doing multiple things, but this year we're on a trajectory to beat that. So it's awesome to have those participation numbers, and we are super excited. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Troy Banning, communication update. What are you gonna communicate, Troy?
We're gonna communicate about the website today.
Oh,
Briefly,
nice.
a brief communication about the website. I won't take up too much of your time. Dr. T asked me to just kind of go over with you what we're doing with our website. Just a little bit of background. I believe our website as it is now was built in 2015. And so when I started and we looked at it last year, we knew that was something that we were going to have to address sooner rather than later. And so last year, what we did is we kind of gave it a little bit of a facelift. We redid our front page just to give it a more fresh, updated look. And then we also switched our app. Our app, I'm not sure when that was created, our original app, but it was done by a company that was different than our web provider. And so they didn't really communicate all that well together. So we had Juicebox, who is our website company, create the app for us. And we really like the app that came out last spring, and it communicates better with our website. And so then this summer, Dr. Trujillo and Principal Griffin and I decided to take some meetings with some website companies to kind of get pitches on a new website. We met with 3 companies. And then after those were over, discussed pros, cons, those things, and decided to stick with Juicebox, the company that does it now, to create a whole new website. And I can go into detail as to the few reasons we chose to stay with them if you'd like. But so that was in the summer. And then it's just kind of been a gradual process. We know this is something that's going to take some time to do. And so we've had a few meetings with them since then. Last week, we've kind of finalized our wireframe of what will be on our front page. And I have that if Jason wants to pull that up. No design work has been done on this yet. It's basically just a wireframe first to get kind of the concepts in mind of what you want. This would just be the front main page where this is called a hero image would be bigger. Oh, sorry. And then, these are just the elements that would be on it. The buttons for the main things that people use the most. And then keep going down. I'll go as we speak. This is just a little welcome thing, a little, where we introduce, here's our schedule where it would be updated constantly. And then you could pick a day to see the schedule then. This blank space below that will be a large size image to go with the schedule. So for example, if the first thing on the schedule is a basketball game that night, that would probably be a picture of a basketball game or wrestling duel, that type of thing. And that's can be created. There's an algorithm that will create that and change that. And then this is our portrait of a graduate information. It's going to be more of an interactive thing than it's been in the past. we liked this element of it, just great things about Gilbert, where we can put some highlights of the district or the community, or we can highlight some of our main pages on it. These are our announcements. And then this is what they call a kind of floating element, to where, for example, for the next 5 years, this will be our facilities update page of the facilities upgraded or the construction being done. When that's done, we can change this element to whatever we want. And then the bottom part of it is just our social media. Jason, just go back to the top. And then the main difference is with our website currently, there are tabs for, I think, parents and students and community. We're getting rid of that and instead going to what they call this mega menu, to where when you click on that mega or that menu button, all of it is right there, rather than having to try to figure out which tab something is under that you're looking for. We're also creating what's called a department section to just try to make navigation easier. That's just kind of a quick overview of what the front will look like. Now the design starts, and the major work on our end now starts, to where with a website that's 8 years old, it's just become bloated, and there's a lot of things on it that are outdated, or it's on there multiple times. And so a lot of the work we have to do is first figure out what doesn't need to be on there. We have to rewrite a lot of things. We have to create some new pages. And so all of that's just going to take some time that we're going to spend. But the goal is to have the new website out and live by the spring. In this, no. So Juicebox does all of the design elements for it. Basically, the wireframes are kind of where we get the elements that we want in place, and then they'll do all of the design. Just real quick, one of the main reasons we went with Juicebox is because it's a fully customized website to our preference, to our likings. We can put exactly what we want on it. You know, we do a lot of video work, a lot of photography, so we can highlight that in some areas. That's one of the main reasons. And so we'll be meeting with them constantly over the next couple months on design, when they get some things back, and kind of retooling some things that we want, and that. Yeah, it's been positive. One of the big issues with the old app was that the schedules weren't correct on it sometimes, because they couldn't download from our website to that. We have a much easier time doing that now. So I've heard a lot of positives on the app. I'm sure there's some bugs in it every now and then. We've had a few things that have crashed on it that we've had to get fixed, but all in all, it's been positive. Yeah, it'll basically be online, to where we'll be able to go in and add stuff. Because I mean, there are a lot of pages we need to create. For example, there's no superintendent page. We need a page like that. There's not a one of the big pages that I have to do. There's not a history of Gilbert page, kind of telling our story from beginning to end. There's not one of those. So there's just elements that we're gonna have to write and build. And yeah, so it'll all be there to where we can look at it and edit as we go before it kind of switches over. Yeah. Yep. That's the goal anyway. With school websites, they're never going to be super easy, just because there's so much information that we have to have out there. And so there's always going to be, it's always going to be complex, I guess. There's no way to just make it easy to where you can find everything like that. So, but we're going to try to do it the best we can to make it as easy as we can and user friendly as we can. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
They look like they're 2023, school district, not a 2015.
Right.
Well, that was just the other day.
Yeah, we we had, it took a while for Juicebox to get through to us that I think one of the developers finally said when we were retooling the front page last year, he said, you know, we can do this, but he said it's like putting a Ferrari engine in a 1984 car. You know, we've still got this old website. And it was to the point where in their company, they only had one person still that knew the software from that long ago to be able to update our website. And so that's when we said, yeah, we really need to do this. There is. And I've actually had conversations with him about this before. Yeah.
You know, you said about
I don't, because I honestly, I didn't ask him on that because with our website, the analytics weren't possible on our website just because it was so old. And so I honestly don't know if we have those possibilities on the app. I know when the new website is done, I've asked him about, will that change our app? And he said, as we go through the process, if we need to refresh the app a little bit, we will, but for the most part, it's not going to change. But there should be a lot more analytics available with the new website as well.
it'd be nice to have a feature.
Yep.
How-
Yep. Yeah, because if there are certain things that we know that people are using more, then we can put those more up front with those buttons. You know, typically it's menus, calendars, those types of things are what people are looking at the most.
And is that all close to you, or how does that work? Like us, the website.
Yes. Yep. With the way it has been in the past, there were multiple people that could have updated it. And so I think at times there was stuff being put on it that other people didn't know, so they'd put it on. And so there's a lot of stuff on there that's multiple places. With this interface, I just saw it quickly. I could give the ability to, for example, Mike at the middle school to update something at the middle school. He would hit update, but then I would get an alert and I will have to go in and officially say, yes, let's do this. So it would all flow through one person, the final publishing it. And just before I go real quick, Dr. T asked me to share some engagement numbers with you, some social media numbers. And so this is just since August 10th. So basically since school started. Facebook, we're averaging 3.2 posts a day. We've reached 275.9 thousand people. We've had engagement from 144.4 thousand people. On Instagram, we've got 177.5 thousand impressions, and our external link taps, which with Instagram, you can't put links in posts. So you basically have to put it in your bio. And so when we do photo galleries, we put, go to the link, go to our bio and click on the link to see the photo galleries. Since August 10th, our external link taps on Instagram are up 457%. So a lot of engagement from the community, and they're great. The support is great, and the interaction I get with people online is great. So it's a fun job I have.
What's our need per post?
It varies. It really does. Some of them, ironically enough, the post I had of Ian as a football player in Ames from 20 years ago had almost 100,000 people engaged with it. And so it just varies from post to post. There aren't any that are minimal. Let's put it that way, though.
Yeah, real
Thank you.
quick before you leave.
Yep.
What's down below, thank you so much.
Appreciate it. That was a big moment that night. So it was good to see. So thank you guys.
Department updates report, and they have their report there in front of them. I just had one quick question, just being on that. With regards to the tornado, we had with the buses, and kind of a note on there. I just wanted to kind of maybe walk through this, how that went out, procedure, maybe some
Sure, there are a couple of things that happened there, so, first of all, it's, it's part of the. And, there was a warning, it was a watch that turned to a warning, that turned to silence, very, very quickly, very quickly. So we put kids on buses, because we were still in a watch phase, and off everybody went, and once they were, so far away from the school, then, we quickly got information that they were studying to Gilbert, and we had to make a quick decision. So I'd like to congratulate, Trent, he did such a great job of leading that, and actually, along with him, Vic was very involved, and all of our principals were amazing, and, I think the most amazing group in that process was, of course, our students, but our bus drivers, because we very quickly said, come back to the building, the closest building you could get. Our principal jumped right in and said, we'll receive the buses and we'll get them into the tornado shelter area at the school. Everybody did that. We had staff members that were already driving home that heard that, turned around and came back to help. And then we had a couple buses that were kind of out. That they didn't, the little drivers did not feel it would be the right decision for them to turn around and come back toward the store. So one bus made the decision to get close to a building, which she had learned that in the training we had been in. So they just made the best decision that they could at that time. And so very quickly, we also, speaking of Troy, we went out the door, we communicated out to parents right away. We're sending them back, we're holding them here, we'll let you know. And then once that cleared, we then reloaded the buses and said the kids have to keep it safe. So huge congratulations to our bus drivers. Great job by Trent and leading that. And it was very, very interesting, and all the staff to be able to help and jump in, and our principals, which is, we're not thinking about their own safety. They were out there getting to off buses, and it was just really remarkable. After that, once everything settled down a little bit, we then had a debriefing to say what went really well and what we changed differently. As many of you probably are aware, we had sirens did not go off in town, and so we shared our concerns with sort of family about that to say, gosh, what happened there, and what could they do differently? And I knew they were from others, but we wanted to make sure it was. In addition to that, Trent worked with his team and with Vic to look at our emergency plan and the two tornadoes and if the buses are out. And one of the things that came out of that is kind of the idea of coming up with safe places. They're around a long time, but there used to be kind of like a house that has like, this is a safe house, and people help knock on the door. So if a bus is out in one of our country rural areas, we know they can go this far into that house, and they would welcome them in and put them in the basement or wherever it would be safe. And so we're continuing to have that conversation, but the fact that we looked at our safety plan to say, did we do everything we could in that moment? I feel like, we did. It was a 53 to say, what else can we do to for this? Right? I can't say enough for us, right? Oh, everyone. Everybody needs to make the most safe that. So appreciate that.
Good crisis management. I didn't know the part about the bus, but glad to hear that in that moment. We have a culture where someone can make a decision like that, and that, you follow the rules as best you can. You gotta follow orders, so to speak. I'm coming back to my job, but in that moment, knowing that someone was empowered to do what they felt was right, and again, those decisions can go back and forth all the time, but I like hearing stuff like that and knowing that they can make those decisions. So.
Well, and in transparency, also, we had one driver that was right by his house, which was in North Ames. And he said, I have a safe basement. Can we get in my basement? And we were like, do it. And he took his kids into the basement. He had dropped off a few of his kids already. And later when he came back, he said, oh, it's great, we were watching TV, the kids were playing with the dog, everybody felt safe and wonderful, and they came back out, got on the bus and went home, and all the parents were notified, but those two were examples of exactly that. The driver made the best decision in that moment. The drivers that came back here were so helpful, and I can't stress, and the principals were there at the door helping our kids come in, and the employee that was driving home, who turned around and came back, went to the high school, because some of the young kids, they thought wouldn't maybe know people there, but then they knew her. And so it was like a nice comforting moment, so it was really good in a tough situation.
Yeah, you can only judge people based on what they know in that moment.
That's right. We got a little wet that day, but if that's all that happened, it's okay. Everybody was safe, so.
I'm glad we had someone with the experience of, tornado experience like you.
Yeah.
So all that's what this was for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
decades
it,
ago.
right? Yeah, but there was a moment where I was like, okay, we're okay, everybody's okay, and then it's all over, and you go home and you're like, everybody got home safe today, and that's what it's all about. So, and I'm really grateful to our team, because that's what made the difference. So, and our families that understood, and then, we talked about Troy being here. I was thinking about how would we have communicated that so quickly to parents if we hadn't had Troy. We have a great team that would have jumped in, but we were all doing other things. And the one other thing, takeaway too, we learned very quickly is we need more safety radios, because we were like sharing radios, and people were here and there, and so we very quickly, so we're working on that too. We realized, what, we need a few more safety radios to make sure everybody's got the communication. But that's why you have to debrief those moments to say what else can be. So, thank you.
Was there any talk or discussion on children that are walking home during that time? It's kind of out of our hands, but it's just,
we didn't, the only thing we had discussed is that there was talk of that people felt it had been a few minutes, which I don't know if that's the right word, but it had been enough time that maybe most kids had gotten home at that point. We hadn't heard from anybody that said like they're not home yet, or so I think maybe the rain might have helped out where kids maybe moved a little quicker because then they got home. So and in hindsight, we make sure we were all listening to our phones and the alarms were going off, and so we'd say, okay, we need to make sure we have one person that's just focused on what's on the news, and it was after it was all over, I heard actually from my own family that said, yeah, it was on the news, Gilbert. And I was like, well, we were watching it here. And so, hindsight, somebody's in charge of the TV and what the news is saying, and hopefully it never happens again, but we have to, be sure we're doing all those things to make sure we're getting as much information as possible.
Any other questions in regards to the department updates report? All right, moving along, mental wellness update. Again, we discussed last month about kind of leaving this as an open item on every board meeting. So last month, we kind of went into a discussion about some things we have done or been working on. It's kind of a document we're going to continue to work on. Melissa and Josh, you were on call. Melissa, you were out that month. So, but again, this is something we just want to kind of leave open on every board meeting, always have open discussions. So I don't know what you have for updates this month, but again, it's something that I want to make sure this has been a higher priority for the board for the last 3 or 4 years. And I think we need to keep this as a high priority going forward.
Just a couple things to update you since last month. I wanted to just share with you that a couple things have been happening. One is I had the opportunity, along with Mick Vanderpool, to meet with a national consultant, Jennifer Hewley Wells. We have worked with her before. Previously, she worked with Please Pass the Love. Now she's an independent consultant that talks about lots of things in that. How can we get resources to families? And how can we have a community conversation about what is it our kids need? And so in that conversation, we've been talking to her about the possibility of facilitating some meetings with her to say, let's have a conversation about not just, not necessarily like, what do we need to do here at Gilbert, more so about what do we need to do as a community to help support our kids in all the ways. And how do we help our parents get the resources that they need? We offer lots of resources. And how are we helping kids utilize those resources? How are we helping our parents and families utilize those resources? So that's something that we're looking at and discussing. I have not met with the principals to talk to them about that. That's coming up to see what their thoughts around that. Cindy Bassett and I had a conversation with her admin team to just talk about that is one idea. Cindy also shared an idea that they had met with a parent that works at Iowa State about a program that comes in and does some evaluating about what are the strengths of things that we do to help support our kids, and maybe what are some areas that we could continue to support our kids in, as not only the school district, but also as a community. And so we have their information. And so right now we're just gathering those pieces, talking to people that are experts in the field. And I think it's really important that we talk about it as a community to say, what can we do to help our teens so that they feel supported in all the things that they do. So that's what we've done since we've talked last time. It's important to me that I want to continue to talk to other people we've worked with, professionals in the field, and then as well as our principals to say, what are they hoping for as we move forward to work together with our communities, with our parents, with our kids, to be at the table like we talked about last time, so that we make sure we're including everyone in that conversation about what are the needs, what are our hopes and dreams and fears, if you will, and what can we do to help bring that all together. So that's where we are at the moment. We've made no decisions around that. My hope is by January, we would have something in motion and start putting something together that is a little more concrete. But those are the pieces that we've talked about.
I had a thought I was gonna bring up. I don't know if this is the right place or something, but I know some districts, they have a program that allow parents to see their kids' activity on their school issued computers. And I just wonder if that, I mean, just looking at the mental health stuff, because I feel like I would know if my kids were looking at things, I would see things before maybe a staff would, right? Even like online. And I'm just wondering if that would be an opportunity to involve parents more in their kids' like school, academic, social media, computer use. Empower parents, and also just like another extra level of protection for our kids in terms of like seeing things, red flags quicker, easier, you know. Right. I have no idea what that costs for a district. Right. I know that they do that in Ankeny. I don't know if there's a reason to not do it, but I just kind of wanted to bring the discussion and get other thoughts on it.
Well, and you know, if there's something, we do have an alert system if something unsettling, for lack of a better word, comes up. That is always communicated with our families. But we don't have something like you're talking about, but it's something that absolutely we could look at. And that is something that's exactly, to me, that's the conversation about what can we do as a community to say, is this something that would be helpful, you know, and how would it be utilized? What does that look like at the school so that it supports our kids? You know, I think that's a good suggestion.
Yeah. My other and I came to this thought because I coach a lot of like rec league stuff for my kids. But I know like Graham Lunt coaches an excellent football program. I would like to learn from him, even like as a parent coach, you know, like there's probably things that he does well that I could implement in like 4th grade girls. So is there, you know, would it be kind of fun to do like sort of a coach training where Graham and some of maybe Mr. Thomas, you know, where they can kind of team up and, you know, train even like the little league coaches, rec league coaches. Because I think that it maybe doesn't directly, I mean, with mental health, I think there's an opportunity to build students up, right? That I'm probably not doing as well as I could be, you know, but I would love to like learn how to do that better.
I think that's a great idea. I think one of the things I failed to mention is that I have talked to, or a suggestion came forward from one of our counselors, which I thought was great too, is that kind of the idea if we have, and we haven't decided on any of this, but to speak to what you're saying is that, you know, maybe there's hot topics that we'd like to come and learn about as parents and the tools that could help us. You know, it might be something like, the pros and cons of social media, or even I just went to a training on the artificial intelligence stuff that's coming out like crazy all over the internet, and it's already way ahead of us, and we should learn more, and that would be a topic for us to learn as parents, and the counselors taking that on, and maybe that becomes a monthly opportunity. In addition to that, what you're saying is that we have wonderful resources right here in this district. Graham's a wonderful example of teaching leadership and teaching, building kids up and what that looks like, and offering parent nights, if you want to call it, or opportunities to learn from the experts that we have right here. Our counselor being one, Graham's another one. Our principals have lots of tools that we can share. So I think those are the kinds of resources that I think putting a group together would be this kind of idea where we would brainstorm ideas together to have something that would be helpful, meaningful, and just really make our whole community stronger. So I think that's great.
Abigail, I don't mean to call you out here, but I think this is a topic where we're gonna rely heavily on your input too. I mean, we wanna hear, I mean, if you have ideas, if you have thoughts, I mean, definitely you need resources, or you believe the school needs resources. This is where you can come ask for them, and I can promise you, we're gonna make sure they're there. So, don't be ever afraid to pipe up in this topic, because again, there's maybe certain times too, we're just gonna turn to you and just ask you a question about how you feel, how you think the school feels, what's the things we can do, because you're there every day, you see it. So, and I would also ask, just, keep your eyes open about that topic, and again, just talk to friends, talk to people, what can we do as a district to help? So.
And also in one of the meetings I had last week, there are things I think that are really important that we talk about as a group, as a community, that there's so many things, wonderful things that are taking place that we want to continue to do. Training and teaching our kids in teen mental health and wellness is one of them. And so in the conversation I had is that, okay, and what staff members have come on board that maybe haven't been through that training? Who else needs to receive that training? What does the parent component look like as a part of that, so that they can be a part of that as well? That's one example. That's part of what this mental wellness being on as an agenda item. I look forward to bringing different principals and their teams forward to kind of share some things they're doing at their school that are really having an impact. One example, and I will not get it right, but Mrs. Bassett at the high school, they just did a connections lunch last week. Is that how we categorize it? Where kids were mixed up in different groups, and they worked on really connecting with others. And while that sounds like something small, it was very well received, very, very positive, and just an example of the great things that they're doing to include others, learn new skills and talents. And just, I heard so many wonderful things about it, but it's just an example of that. Were you able to attend that?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh yeah, it was great. There were like 2 of each grade, and then seniors, a lot of them did not go because they're open campus. But the table that I was at actually went really well. We were all kind of like surprised at how well it went afterwards. And they had little conversation cards that were like, what's your favorite movie right now? Or like things like that. And I think the conversation cards helped a lot because we got talking, but some tables went differently than others. And but I think that personally for me and for a lot of my friends, we talked to a lot of people that we haven't talked to in a while, or met some people we didn't know. And it was really good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
One of the things as we visit this monthly is, for me, the priority is going to be getting the parents involved. We have these kids for 8 hours a day, so we can we can directly touch them for 8 hours. We have little impact on what's coming in the door. The other 16, 18 hours when they're not with us. So we're in the difficult position where we have to respond to things that are outside of our control, and not putting this negatively, because everyone has their own circumstances, but the parents of these children are going to drive them in different directions, and again, I don't want to downplay any of the efforts that we're taking, but I don't want to send the message that send your kids to the Emerald City, the wonderful Gilbert School District, and we will solve all of your mental health problems for your kids. I think, and I, kind of talked to you about this a little bit. Because of who teachers and school district employees are, they just want to serve, and we know you just want to make all the difference in all of your kids' lives. And, you never say no, you're always going the next step. And, I think it's easy for parents or people outside of that to just start, to rely on that and to say, I can send my kids to this wonderful school district and they're gonna solve that problem, and I don't have to be invested as a parent in my kids' lives. Not that, that's an, I don't think that's really being said at home, but for years and years and decades, the school districts have taken on more and more and more, and we're asking the teachers to do so much. And it's easy when you have a servant heart like that to just say, okay, mental health is the next thing. We'll do it. We'll take it on. And what's it gonna be 10 years from now, 15 years from now? What's the next great challenge in the kids' lives gonna be? And we have to focus on that as a school board, because again, it's our responsibility to make sure that the environment that they're in when they're in school is going to, it's going to be the best possible environment for their mental health, for their education while they're here. But we also have to recognize and make sure we're telling people that we can't solve all of your problems. We can only respond to the children that come in the door. We can only respond to the circumstances that those children are in when they're with us. So, however that looks, maybe, we don't have a lot of control over the parents, unfortunately. Fortunately, that's for me, that's one of the big focuses for this, is how do we get the parents as involved as possible. It's easy to get parents involved when it comes to sports and the academic success of their children, and focused training and education at home on mental health and wellness is, by no fault of the parents. It just it might not be there as much as what they're getting at school. So again, I don't want to minimize what we're doing here, because we absolutely need to do more. As a family, personally, we're benefiting from some of the more recent changes, some increased availability for counseling and therapy staff. But that fight needs to happen at home as well. And it's just, however we do that, and you can tell us, how do we get to your parents and to the parents in the district? How do we make sure that that's actually happening? And because we can't do it without them. And I know it's a lot of time the blame gets put on some of the most intense servant hearts in the room when things don't go well. And it's, I know how hard you work for our students, so it's not lost on us. It's not lost on the board that, again, somehow, some way, we need to get the parents involved in this as well. So I'm open to suggestions.
Well said. Are there topics at the upcoming IASB on mental wellness? I would encourage those that are going to.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been attending a couple of them. So there's one Wednesday, there's one Thursday.
and also just, we'll, always keep bringing this back as we're talking about it, but I think to your point, also, Josh, and what we're saying is that, how do we get the resources out to families, a couple of years ago, and I don't have the stats in front of me today, but just a couple of years ago, we offered the student assistance program, and the report came in and it was under 20 of our students. It was even lower than that, I think. It was very low. I was a little bit, you know, because we're constantly saying like, oh, check out the student assistance program and, you know, so it's like, oh, okay, and that's just one resource that we have that's available to our families. So it's like, how do we help them? And we'll keep trying doing different things, you know, having the Walnut Creek partnership that I brought to you that has been full, and that's been going very well. And that takes added pieces of the administrators and the staff at the school to make sure we're doing those pieces. And so we'll keep doing those things, and with that comes the partnerships to help us do some of those things. Some of that came from the foundation, our Gilbert Education Foundation helped us secure some of that. When I talk about if we decide to make the decision of bringing a consultant of any kind, it's gonna cost us to do that, and I'm not saying that matters, but it's important that that's part of it so that we can get it right and get the messages out and making sure that we're communicating and doing everything we can to get parents involved. And really, I would say the parents, and you'll continue to hear me say the community. This is a community issue based on all of our kids, like you said, because as Melissa also mentioned, like kids are in sports, our kids are, you know, at the park, our kids are, you know, they're all around us. And so we want to make sure we're reaching out that this is a community issue we work on together. Sometimes we can be the avenue, but not always can we be the avenue as a school district. So be helpful.
Great conversation, and again, I think it's something we're just gonna talk about as much as we can, and again, Abigail, really welcome your thoughts on this going forward, so. Board reports, we have the unofficial school board election results. The 4-year terms, which will be served from 23 through 2027, are myself, Nathan Kearns, and Mindy Rash. Congratulations, and thank you two very, very much. 2-year term, Melissa Pearson will continue the rest of the 2-year term here, so congratulations again, Melissa. Again, I don't know when the official results come out.
So it goes to Story County, supervisor.
Yeah.
It goes to them, the next team, or we are at the tail end because we're bigger. And so it'll be in a couple weeks, and then when that officially comes out, and then we will have to take action on that, and it'll be on December.
Yep. Great. Congratulations, everybody.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you much. Now the really good news, the $35 million bond passed, 82.5% approval. A lot of people to thank on this, a lot of people in the community that put a lot of work into this. A lot of hours. I know I wanted to grab Troy when he was here, tell him thank you. He did a tremendous job with communication behind the scenes. And as everybody is well aware, Dr. Trujillo worked her tail off on this. How many events did you attend?
16.
16 events. So you were a busy bee, you were every place. Thank you so much for your work. It was outstanding. And again, we are blessed to live in a great community. And I mean, the approval rate was outstanding. So 60% is needed.
Yeah.
We got 83. So
Just if I may for a minute there.
You go right to yours.
So just a couple things. One is, it was a team effort. So I appreciate your kind words, but it was truly a team effort. Our bond committee was amazing. It was led by Christine Weigert, who is involved with our finance group as well. She led that bond committee, and then we had a wonderful group of people that were a part of that everybody took their piece and put it all together, and I'm very appreciative to that committee and all their hard work. The other lead in that with Troy as a parent was Amy Griffin was also a part of that. And committee, we had lots of people on that committee that just really, John Kinley, former superintendent, was a part of that as well. So just lots of work that was done in the evenings, on weekends, to get the message out. In addition to that, I just can't thank enough all the groups of people that welcomed me into their living rooms, into their areas, into the firehouse, into the wherever we were, to meet with people to talk about the facts of the bond. So I'm very, very grateful to the entire group. And all the help that everyone, every piece of it, even if it was just one piece, one little, it matters. So very, very grateful to everyone for participating, for voting yes, and for asking a lot of great questions through that whole process. And I got to know even more people, which is always my favorite part. And so thank you to the committee, to the voters, and to all of you for the support, and can't wait to see the great things we're going to do together moving forward.
Just to put in perspective, there was 31 bonds, I believe, up for election. 58% of the bonds failed. So it's 42% passed, and ours passed by a long shot. So it kind of goes back to the work the committee did, but just also our amazing community. I mean, they did an awesome job. It truly shows, they support this district, and they always have. So it's really neat to see.
I was surprised how many no bond votes there were across the state.
Yeah.
State,
Yeah, the state. There were a handful of people just always vote no, so. Can't always beat them.
82% is great. I mean, there weren't too many in the state that had that.
Nope.
Unfortunately, this is the first time they have to wait a whole year.
Right.
I know,
Right.
gotta wait another whole year.
Every
Can't forget
change
that.
is gonna happen here.
And I did hear from one district in Northwest Iowa that they sort of rushed to put their information out because of that change. And so, and theirs unfortunately did not pass. So my heart kind of goes out to them because, they had to do what they had to do, and now they'll go out another year and hopefully it'll be successful then. But that may be the story of more, but that was just one. And again, it just reminded me how grateful I am to our community. So.
Great job, everyone. The IASB 78th Annual Convention begins Wednesday of this week. I will be attending Wednesday, Thursday. Josh, Melissa, either of you attending? You'll be there as well. Mindy and Nathan, I don't know if you guys will be attending as well, but highly recommended. It's really good. It gives you it jumps you right into what school board supposed to do, a lot of training, and then just really where to get the resources going forward. So Tyler's I think he's attended 93 of these now. And he's pretty much an expert. He's pretty much an expert at them. So again, so I will be there Wednesday and Thursday, and you'll be there.
I'll be there.
Yep.
I'll be
All right, here we go, Lee. Welcome to the table. Facilities report update. Looking forward to you wowing us now.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. It is exciting. You guys, I think you were one of the highest ones in the state to pass. Unfortunately, our team was on that one that tried to push it through right at the last minute. So it happens. But I just want to kind of introduce myself, since I've met a couple of you online, but none of the others. My name is Lee Dukeman. I have been with CNBA for 14 years. Of those 14 years, 14 of them have been working on K-12 projects. It's just kind of where they put me to start, and it's kind of where I've planted myself and I've loved to be ever since. So I am an Iowa State grad, so right down from the south there. Spent a good chunk of my time at that place that's on your computer and on your cup right there. So lots of good memories in the area. So Joe, you guys have probably met. He's still on team. He's our project manager. Andrew will be our lead architect on the PK2. And then we've added Ryan Cameron, who will be taking the lead architect on a lot of the other projects that you guys have going on. And then we'll probably continue to add as those projects take off as well. Something I wanted to add, I added just as you guys were talking. I'm not sure if this was ever really shared with you guys early on, but this is our mission statement as a K-12 team. To impact generations of learners, we elevate every K-12 project to a safe, healthy space that fosters student engagement, increases teacher retention, and boasts community pride. Very much what you guys were just talking about, and we align very, very close to that. I pride myself on going through a lot of conventions for schools and learning what it takes to be a good K-12 school. And you guys were talking about well-being and what are just some small things that we can do. Something that we've learned that our buildings can help in that well-being. When we step back and we ask early on, I'm sure the team has done this, like, what do you want your building to feel like? How do you want people to respond? And these are typically some of the words that come out when we ask those questions. We want it to be, a place of acceptance. We want it to be warm, welcoming, all of those good things. Well, we know our minds have been created in such a way that we've learned what chemicals in our brains get released, what needs to be released in our brains to get to those emotions. All right, so we know that these chemicals released give us those positive emotions, but even from there, we know what experiences get us there. So we look at what are those experiences. It's that freedom within a space, it's security, it's place and belonging, it's balance, it's self-worth, it's purpose. It's all those types of things that really build those positive emotions. And then we as architects, we think about how does our building create that, right? And so we look at different ways that we can organize space to draw out those positive emotions for the kids and for our teachers, and really build on that. I don't know if anybody's been watching this little girl over here. She's been on that chair, she's been on the floor, she's been on the back. Our kids need to be able to move around when they learn, right? And so we need to create spaces that foster that kind of learning that's happening just as we sit here and talk. So it's a great experience. For the first time, when I was doing another bond earlier this fall for another district, I was asked at a meeting, it's like, why can we trust you? I was like, okay, that's the first time I've ever been asked that question. So these are just some projects that I've worked on. So I'll just put that out there for you guys. This is Sioux Center High School. This is actually where I went to high school. So this was a really fun project for me to work with teachers and my own classmates that were now teachers. So this is a project I did with my team. 42.9 million. It's up in Northwest Iowa. Another one that we just completed and we toured with your team here was MOC Valley. Floyd Valley Elementary School. This was a $37 million elementary school. I've got a project out in Chamberlain, South Dakota right now with for 32 million. And you can just kind of see on those spaces, right, how they're just different types of learning environments, how they're going to activate that space and where kids can move around to learn. The one that just passed this year is Sheldon Community School for 33. That was on the bond votes this year. That was going to be just getting going. And then another one that this is out in Nebraska that they'll be voting on it tomorrow is a new high school addition, elementary addition, basically a K-12 facility that's 46.8. So love schools, love what they have, the opportunity to impact so many generations ahead of us. So tonight was to update you on the master planning. And I guess the update there is congratulations, we're done with master planning, hopefully. You guys have passed it. But I want to talk a little bit of where we've been doing since I've come on board. It's been a little bit of heads down getting on that PK2 building. We did transition the team. We've done some building tours. What was that, about 3 weeks ago already? A couple Fridays or 3 Fridays ago. We toured Spencer, HMS, Hartman Melvin Sanborn, and then that MOC project as well. So it was a full day on the road, and then you were back for what was your second to last event?
Yeah,
for
exactly.
a football game. So
Event.
early morning, late night. So but a lot of things that we learned on there. I think there was sometimes when you tour the schools, it's truly is seeing is believing, and it helps you wrap your head around a lot of things that are happening out there. One thing that we'll go through in depth, not in depth, here kind of towards the end is what we've been really working on hard is the SD package for the PK2. We've had multiple meetings about that with your admin, with the facilities team as well. And then we've also been working on the DD package for the middle school. So SD means schematic design, conceptual, big high level stuff. And then DD means design development, where it's more refined. It's a little smaller project, so we're trying to move that one faster and get that one out there for bid yet in this winter. So then we've been also onboarding all our consultants to the PK2. And then we just handed this pricing set over not last Friday, but 2 Fridays ago now to De Novo to price that schematic design package. we'll be getting those pricing intermittently kind of throughout the rest of this project. And that's just to keep us on target. We anticipate we're probably going to be over that target. We're going to be reviewing that tomorrow. And I saw the numbers come through as I was driving down here, and I can probably pull them up on my phone, but I have not had a chance to really study them too in depth. But we just anticipate that, but really that's not atypical for where we're at. It just kind of depends on where that dollar is, to be honest with you. But what it's really going to help us do is now give us a solid target, because when we get into that package, you're going to see to what level we have that developed. So now we know where the money is, where we can take money from, and how we're going to move things around to make this project get on budget. Some next steps that we're going to take is obviously we're going to keep the PK2 facility moving. We're estimating that we're going to have the drawings done by the end of April. So that'll be ready for bid come April. And then hopefully we have dirt moving yet this fall or next fall, I guess, at that point. We have our first round of teachers meetings coming on the 21st of November. We're going to sit down and we're going to learn from the teachers really about what do they want that space to look like and how do they want to teach in it. We did a little bit of that early on, but now it's really, now that they have a space to react to, they can really get into the nuts and bolts of some of that. And then we've also got some activities for the students to take part in. We have this book called If I Were to Build a School. The teacher is going to read that book to them, and then they're going to sit down and draw in this space that we've allotted for them, kind of what they would imagine and how they would want to learn in that space. So hopefully we get some good stuff from that. We'll obviously have a lot of value discussions after we get this budget review too. So there'll be probably some hard decisions to make and hopefully some good decisions to make. And then obviously all the things that we take for granted, air conditioning, lighting, power, all that stuff. All that stuff is happening in the background as well. So there's the army behind the project is growing quickly for where we're headed. All those same things are going to be happening for the middle school. I think Mike is still back there. So we'll be setting up a meeting with him to go over his plan here shortly. Hopefully before Thanksgiving, but quickly right after it. But other than that, a lot of the same things are happening on that one. And like I said, that one will be going faster, and we anticipate being done with that one in December. It'll probably go out to bid February, something in that time frame.
And Lee, if I may,
Yep.
in that particular, what we're talking about there is just the secured entrance.
Yep.
That's just a reminder.
Secured entrance in a principal's office, admin space. Yep.
Yeah,
Small
which is all
space.
part of that secured entrance piece, not all the other pieces related to that.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, not all the other. So some next steps before we get into the SD package. Obviously now all these projects are going to get onboarded onto the project, and this is where Ryan's going to come into play. And we're going to get all those same SD. We'll start back in schematic design and start all those discussions. Some other discussions around these will have to take place on like priority and which ones go first and all those good things as well. But we need to get these all up to the same level and figure out those timelines. Before we get into the SD package, is there any questions on any of that? Where we're at or what we've been up to?
Nope.
No? Good. So we can spend as much time or as little as time on this as you guys want. This is where we're at kind of on the SD package. Now these renderings, we've sat down and we've walked through them a little bit more thoroughly with the admin team, but these are just some quick renderings that we put together. So DeNovo had a price that they had something to price with. By no means do these have to stay as they are. We can do a lot of things with these yet, depending on how that price comes. So that's just what we start to do. As we walk through this package, there's just a lot of data in here for package. So it's good. Some of the fun is going to go away because we got to get into the nuts and bolts of projects that people don't care about as much. But this is just highlighting the schedule of the projects. What we do in this SD package is we write a whole narrative basically of what we've done, and we give everybody a floor plan, and we highlight the areas of the building and some of the major goals. That's what's all in that text. If you want this document, the facilities team has it. They can share it with you guys if you want to see it more up close and personal. But it's recapping everything that we've done with the team through the master planning process. So then what we have is our civil engineers. They've taken a look at the site. They're highlighting the extensive cut fill, how much dirt are we gonna have to take out, how much dirt are we gonna have to bring in. They've started that kind of that balancing process so we can get a good price on dirt movement and things like that. Starting to highlight areas of detention and parking lot requirements, how much paving we're gonna have. So all of that's being identified in this project so far. Topography lines. Here we're starting to highlight where our potentially is requested from the district geothermal systems. So we're looking at where can we put those geothermal systems, and we're just starting to highlight areas to investigate what makes sense on the site for that from a cost. Some good news, there are some tax rebates out there, or some tax credits. I gotta be careful which one it is. And we've seen those tax credits. I'll let the MVP engineer talk more about this as the time comes, but we've seen those offset the cost to drill on kind of all that infrastructure. So that's we can get our hands on that. That's a pretty good savings for the district. So some things that also start to show up. I know it's hard to read on the screen, and I apologize for that. But we've had a kitchen consultant start looking at the kitchen, laying that space out, put some cost to that to get an understanding of what kind of equipment we need in there. And then really that black and white drawing off to the left, you see all those things along the bottom down there. Those are all different types of walls that we have in the building: sound walls, standard walls, concrete walls. And then we're highlighting where those are all going to be on the plan. So Patrick can go through, or DeNovo can go through and take an accurate price takeoff on all those walls. So really trying to get to that detail so we can really understand where the money is sitting in the project. This one is starting to highlight the types of flooring. When we were on those tours, we had some good discussion about what kind of flooring we want in this project. The kind of that light blue up there is a polished concrete. All the green represents a kind of a standard carpet. Not this kind of carpet, it would be a carpet tile. And then that kind of that turquoise green is a little bit more of a durable carpets, because there's gonna be a lot of traffic in there and that kind of thing. But again, getting a good quantity here for pricing, so we can take that. Do the same thing for ceilings. So this is a ceiling plan, walking us through what kind of ceilings we anticipate in the building, from exposed ceilings like this to covered ceilings like that. Just taking our first initial take at, based off what we know from some of our discussions on where that money could be sitting and where we've reserved some money to sit as well. This is where we're going to be, where the teacher, or with the meetings with the teachers, is going to develop this page a little bit more. Off to the right, you see some inspiration images provided by Christine, but just this is an idea for DeNovo to understand that we don't want these to just be blank walls in these spaces. We want to put a little bit extra money on some of these walls because we want some of those areas where kids can engage, where students can engage, and those kind of things happening around the building. We want it to be a fun place to learn. So we don't know exactly what they're going to look like. So we just asked them to put a little higher square foot cost to select areas in the building so we can make sure we get those in there. What we've also done for them is we've created some what we call isometric drawings, and these are just of your basic classrooms. It kind of breaks down, how the teachers can use their space. You got your head walls in each classroom and the marker boards, and then how their storage and the type of products that we anticipate seeing in those, and how the furniture starts to lay out in those spaces, and how kids you can see some of that has soft furniture. You can see that there's just different varieties of furniture in these spaces. So this page, again, just starting to pick products so teachers can get a feel for, or so DeNovo can get that feel. You can see on the bottom right is a kind of just a black and white of what those classrooms could feel like, and then to the right is what that neighborhood and the views that we could have out in that neighborhood, and then the activity that we can start to create inside that neighborhood. This is just pretty vanilla stuff here. This is a code plan. These are some discussions we've had. We've talked about those storm shelters. We've talked about hardened areas. How do we compartmentalize the building from a safety standpoint, if active shooters, all those kind of things. We've begun those discussions, and we'll continue to have security discussions and safety discussions as we go through. But this is just a high level of that right now. Roof plan, again, diagramming out the exterior for pricing. we'll get more into this when we, like I said, we've had kind of an initial meeting with the admin team. When we're ready to present this one a little bit more thoroughly. We've got a whole story kind of behind what we're talking about here, but this is for Patrick just to get a price together. Few more axons there. Some sections so they can understand how tall the building is going to be. And then we have boring stuff, structural, how much steel is in the building, some mechanical system narratives, electrical narratives, where do we anticipate rooftop units versus the geothermal units, heat pumps, all that good stuff happens in all of that language off to the right. So a lot of things I'm not going to bore you with. But I know it sums itself up in about 21 pages, but it takes quite a bit of work to get us to that point, and it's a good point to be at in this part of the project, considering how much time we still have left. The next phase will really start to take this and refine this even further. So just want to kind of open it up to questions for me, or where we're headed, or what we're up to.
Quick question, just
Yeah.
you mentioned a couple times on those tours, I guess, who went and then how did they go?
Yeah.
Maybe not for you, but just for, I mean, I know you went, Christine, I think Vic.
Christine, Vic is.
Yeah, and Stacy, I believe went,
Yeah,
Terry Clark.
Just
our
real quick
curriculum.
thoughts from everybody on the tours and, I mean, in regards to how those went.
Stacy, do you want to share your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we were able to get a lot of great ideas. See some of the ideas that they're starting to talk about in real life, which is helpful. Sometimes things on paper. So I think that went really well. There's kind of 3 different buildings, one that ended up with some renovation versus completely brand new. So that's interesting thing along with studying.
Vic, what about you?
Well, you know, along with what Stacy said, we also kind of saw what we did like, right?
Yeah.
And it's nice to look at things and say, oh, I don't know if that's really what we're kind of looking at. It was nice to ask, you know, we had a variety of people that we talked to along the way. Sometimes there were teachers that say, yeah, we really don't like the way this is designed, we should do this. And they're like, you know, we were curious about this open space. What do you think about this? Oh, we really like this. And so it was neat to hear from. There was a maintenance facility guy, there was a superintendent, and then there were 2 building principals. And so we kind of got to hear from a bunch of different lenses, and all of the buildings had really interesting, unique features to them. Some of the I was really blown away by the Orange City School. It's absolutely beautiful school. The project that we've been involved in. Yeah, it was great. Very good learning experience. Good. Like Stacy, you know, like we spent a lot of time staring at the stuff on paper, and then to see it actually walls and walk around it and look like, ooh, we hadn't thought of that. It's a great idea. So I think it was well worth it.
Good. What about you, Dr. T?
I would agree with everything that was said. I think hearing from the different groups within the district was really helpful. One of this, I believe it was the superintendent that said, and they've heard me say this, these words keep sticking with me, which is, let's not build for what we do today, let's build for the future of what teaching and learning looks like. And that was kind of what they did in their building. And so that has really stuck with me when we are having conversations with Lee, and when we're talking to Stacy about what the elementary needs are in the PK2, those are the things that we're keeping in mind. And so what's a little bit difficult to see up there is that the idea is, if you haven't heard this, is that there's one area that's a neighborhood area, it's a community area, thank you, Lee. And then a particular grade level is wrapped around that, which then just creates this really nice, welcoming neighborhood feel for our learners. It also has restrooms right there for that particular grade level, along with locker areas, so kids can come in, put their coats and boots and things away, use the restroom, and then head off to their classroom and then you have that common space, that neighborhood space where you could work in small groups, you could have the whole grade level out there. You can have all different configurations to really help our students and our learners and our teachers. And so I think seeing all that take place And then having great discussions with our team about, would you like this, would you not like that, or. And it was great to kind of say like, oh, I like that, or I don't like that, and okay, what could we all live with, and. Those were great conversations, so I'm really grateful to the team that went. It was a long day, but very valuable. And to Lee, and Patrick, Lee specifically for setting that up, and then having those really wonderful people that we met with across the state was great, so we loved it. And it helped us, one other thing I want to mention is like, we go into a room and say, is this room the size of what this would be in our building? And it would be like, yes or no, and we'd say, oh, this isn't big enough, or oh, this needs to be bigger, or, to really put that in real time was very helpful, I thought.
Maybe sense of scale.
Yeah.
Questions for Lee?
I just on the working with the facility group, I mean, made a lot of progress last month, really appreciate it. One comment was, this is being built that it could be expanded, not that that would be the choice. But it's currently 7 sections.
Yeah.
Which is more than what we've got right now. But potential to expand rather than have to build new.
Looks huge.
Yeah.
Compared to this picture we have now.
Right.
Just shy of 72,000 square feet.
And also, I really want to, I didn't, and I should have, I wanted to thank CMBA and their team for helping us with the bond and getting the bond passed. I mean, just their expertise in all of that has been wonderful, and so I'm grateful to them. But also, to Tyler's point of what they've done in the last month to just get us ready for the next step has been remarkable, and really grateful to the whole team and to Brian as well. So.
The plan did take a kind of a big shift in there in about 2 weeks. We moved a lot of things around and just to clean up some circulation. There was a little too many jogging going on for most kids, so we tried to clean up that circulation as much as possible. I think we succeeded at that, but
It's cool.
anything else?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, we'll be back with, obviously intermittent check-ins and.
Well, you're gonna see us a lot.
When you
You're gonna
get
see us
all
a
the pretty
lot.
pictures, that's what everybody wants to see. So we'll get there. But
We like for the utilities and things. Did you have an idea like percent wise what what we currently have and what we could be looking at for the.
I do not, but I can definitely get that. Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Good efficiency.
Yeah, because in Iowa, we've adopted the energy code, state energy code, so we have to design it to hit a certain threshold of energy savings. And if we do get the geothermal from a cost savings, I mean, that's gonna be huge for you guys. From a cost savings standpoint. A little bit more upfront cost there, but long-term benefits in the end. And that's a system that you guys have in the district already, so we will be dealing with that, but I can definitely ask the engineers to look into that.
Good work, Lee. Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight.
No other questions?
I would think
Got
so.
some.
Not any questions?
Come on.
You gotta get some rest for tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. I'll have to open that email up and see what that is. I'm not sure I want to see that. We'll see.
I think
There is
you'll-
definitely a road ahead of us on that, as you guys know. We've got some ground to cover, but now that we have kind of the biggest chunk, we know where we're at. We'll figure out where we're at and work it backwards from there.
All right.
All right.
Thank
Nice
you.
meeting everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much. Lee, where are you out of again?
I'm out of Sioux City.
Oh,
Yeah, but the rest of that team is out of Des Moines.
you got
So-
Spencer guy, a Sioux City guy, or Sioux, all right, you're Sioux Center.
Sioux Center.
I was thinking Sioux Center, which is next to Spencer.
It's right next door.
Yeah.
Everything comes from Northwest.
All right. I heard you said Spencer.
They did pass a lot of bonds.
Well, thank you, Lee.
You bet, thank you.
Old business, second reading of new board policy 503.08, discipline of students who make threats of violence, cause incidents of violence. Required by House File 604. We do not need to vote on this, Gail, do we? Can we wait?
No, so we're gonna go to the pre.
Got it. I thought so.
Yeah.
Any updates on that, Christine?
No, I just need to bring that back to the third. I'm continuing to, I need to work with the principals on that and bring that back. And there are some added details to others that are coming up, and we'll bring all that at once. So.
Any questions from the board? The copy of that is in your notes. So again, we're just reviewing it. No action will be taken tonight.
There's actually a regulation to that policy that's next.
Okay,
So we'll probably come back all of them.
perfect. We've also got some first readings there for 1.01. 503.01. I don't need to read them, you can see them, but first readings, any questions, comments on those policies? Again, no action will be taken tonight on those, just the first reading.
Actually, 50308, regulation 1, will be presented at the December meeting. There's some
Okay.
decisions that need to be made
That one.
for more detail on this.
Okay. Christie, did you have any comments on
Just
those?
these are revised policies that came through from ISP.
All right, let's go to the travel piece. Request for a high school American history teachers to, proposal for a junior class trip to the National World War I Museum and Memorial in Kansas City, Missouri, which is tentatively planned for Wednesday, December 6th. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second, further discussion.
Awesome place, been there twice, and go again, we need more chaperones.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Always need check.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Trip passes. Acknowledgement of semester graduates. Again, a list is right there in your packet. Any comments on that, Christine, or anything?
Oh, this is just our list that comes to you each year of kids that are ready to go on to the next thing.
Motivated kids,
Yep, I thought it
it's
was
fun
fun.
to read through their, kind of their plan.
Yeah.
I think in the past, I think the board may have taken action.
Yes.
But then we changed because of board policy that once the students meet their requirements,
We don't need.
board action required. So
Yep.
you're just acknowledging that it's.
All right, moving along to trip number 2. Dr. Christine Trujillo to attend the AASA National Conference in Fargo, North Dakota, February 13th through the 17th. Oh, wait, San Diego, Cal, that was a misread.
Yeah.
San Diego, California, in February, huh?
That is the National Superintendent Conference that moves around, and last year was San Antonio, so just for the record.
I just wanted to say.
Do they ever have it in Fargo?
Huh?
I am not aware of it ever taking place in Fargo.
We can give you that, you're right.
Yeah. thanks.
And you went last year, did you go the last 2 years to this?
I was signed up to go 2 years ago, which was Nashville, Tennessee, and ended up with COVID. So
Yep.
I did not go, and then this year, yeah, so it is a wonderful conference, and it's exciting to be in the room with lots of other superintendents and to learn from them, and I'll be happy to bring back any information and maybe some sunshine too.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Steen's going to San Diego. Financial report summary, Gail. Oh, wow, we're watching TV.
Amongst yourselves.
Have you been in World War I?
I have not.
I never knew that.
It is amazing. That's right downtown, right near the railroad,
Yeah,
train station.
yeah,
It's next to it.
that's cool.
I'm really glad.
We've never been to that before.
No, so the teachers came up with this, and Cindy
Yeah.
said, great,
I think it's, I mean, it's well positioned for a tour of kids.
that's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about a 2 hour, it'll be a long day, but the kids will love it, it'll be good, 2 hours there, it'll be great.
All right, Gail, how's the money looking?
I just have a few things, just wanted to touch base, I'm still working on the line item budget for fiscal year 24. Still trying to drill down and get as close as we can, because what we want to be is our ultimate goal is to have it be as accurate as we can. And we know it came off of really high elevated expenses and expenditures for fiscal year 23. So what we're trying to do is drill down as close as we can, because we're going to go out to get a bond rating. And so we want to have a very good outlook for the next 5 years to present to them. And our historical is awesome. We know that we've done a really good job of that. So we have to also show them the next 5 years going forward. So we're going to dip down in the solvency, but as you know, that the current also affects going forward. And so we're working on that. I'm so close to it, so it will sure be ready in November. With a little bit of speaking to the expenditures for fiscal year 23 in the Secretary's report. The positive side, cup half full, not half empty here, is we've talked about the cash reserve of how limited we have been in the past. And with our expenditures where they were, the current year 24 that we're in, we were only able to do a cash reserve of 116,000. So April 15th, when we approve our fiscal year 25, we're looking at having the availability of 1.4 million. So that is the difference of that calculation. So in direct relationship, what that will help with is our cash flow. And as you do, we have been tracking on the Secretary's report in our general fund here. When we're comparing year after year, we're always around $900,000 to $1 million short in the cash. So we definitely want to make sure we have to take that full capability of levying that, so we replenish our cash and we don't have to worry about a cash flow issue in the future. Also, that would give us we know we are $200,000 over in our special ed deficit, which was also, we used $200,000 for in cash. So that will replace that. So we have the capability of replacing that, and we'll be presenting that, will be included in our April 15th budget. Speaking about the April 15th budget, of course, that's another thing that has changed the legislation. There's going to be extra steps to our budget process this year. We will have a specific, we'll start working on the budget. Our evaluation will come out probably about the first week in January. We should plan to have our state of the district finance meeting with Travis. It'll be a combination of where we've been, where we're headed with the financials, but also we'll have information about our bonding past week too. So we'll have a work session sometime in January, February to do that. But to get back to the budget process, we will have to have a one-topic meeting to basically present the budget. And before we have to publish budget twice, and so we'll have the regular hearing, that we have the hearing before the hearing mission. And it's a very, very tight timeline. It's still, I keep saying April 15th, actually April 30th. They moved the deadline to April 30th. So we'll look forward to the new process, which is going to be different. But I'll have more information about that. Other than that, I think that's all I have for the financials. Then we had our district audit the 26th and 27th of October. And if you've been on the board for very long, segregation of duties was our comment again. That's basically, unless we have more people, we really can't get away from the segregation of duties. We do the best that we can with our situation of an employees we have. Other than that, they wrote about activity funds, about the balances of some of those trips that we haven't been taking because of COVID. But some of those trips are coming back and band, vocal and Spanish club. And the other two comments that they had was basically student information systems. So it's about students not reported or so if it's a plus, that means that there's two students that maybe another district had that were actually our students. So that's going to be an adjustment for our audit, or not audit, but our budget, I should say. And then the supplemental weighting, we had an adjustment of a supplemental weighting is maybe classes that we get additional funding for. Apparently we had 1.4 more in weighting than what we really had. So it's just been an adjustment in the April budget that'll affect the dollars. So we'll have a net positive in the end for that. But other than that, that's basically all we had for. You want to add anything else to the audit? I mean, it's pretty uneventful.
I would just like to say that, as we all know, Gail Hopkins is amazing, and it is incredible to sit down for the, what they call it, not the checkout meeting, exit meeting, okay? And I, take my notebook and I'm all ready, like, okay, and the gentleman says, okay, everything's great, you're doing awesome. That was like the end of the meeting. I mean, there's a couple little notes, but overall, it's just incredible. And I'm so grateful to Gail and to her team and to Katie and the work that they do. They put in a lot of work ahead of time. So, they used to come to the site and ask for all these things that they would, and now it's all done basically electronically, but then we're answering all the questions, being available to them. It's what Gail and Katie do. And it's really an incredible process, and I couldn't be more grateful to Gail for the work that she does in putting all that together and having it go so smoothly. So
Great job, Gail. Anything else for the financials, Gail? From your end, any questions for Gail? All right, consent agenda. Anything need to be pulled out, discussed? And if not, I will take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
motion.
Second.
Further discussion?
No, it's Tyler.
Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda passes. Calendar, we have the IESP convention starting Wednesday this week, Wednesday and Thursday this week. December 11th, we've got a big board meeting. We gotta say bye-bye to Jeff and Tyler and hello to Mindy and Nathan. So we will swear them in. We will also appoint a new president, a vice president, secretary, treasurer. So we will have a full meeting that day.
If I could just emphasize the importance of, for some reason, that the newly elected board members, and I have that in here. If for some reason you cannot be there for the installation and the swearing, and just let me know, we can do it before. We can't do it after, but we can do it.
Can't make it next week, let Gail know. Then our regular board meeting, January 15th, the following month. And we are done, so I will take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
A second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.